Disney said no to the hunt for Ben Solo. Lucasfilm paid $3 million for the hunt for Ben Solo. Adam Driver has been working on the hunt for Ben Solo in secret for 2 years. Lucasfilm said yes. Disney said no. Like I said, Adam Driver has been working with some writers and producers in Hollywood for the last couple of years in secret, putting together a sequel film to the sequel trilogy. It would have followed the events of the Rise of Skywalker, and it would have followed the redemption arc of Ben Solo, Kylo Ren Ben Solo, who died at the end of Rise of Skywalker in a really... He obviously didn't die. They reversed the footage. You just watch his death scene again. When he falls and dies, no, it's reversed. He was sitting up. She was pulling him up. His hair flows in a way that is a reverse pulling up, not a I'm falling back. He survived. He did not actually die. They killed him in reshoots and rewrites. Maybe he was always supposed to die, but he was not supposed to die there in that way. They fixed that in post. They did that in post, in editing, I think like 3 months before the film came out.
No, you're still holding on! Let go!
So they botched Rise of Skywalker when they killed off Ben Solo. They really botched it. They botched it with lots of other things, but if they at least let him live, that would have been something. But they killed him. They killed off Ben Solo, and when in years past, when they would ask Adam Driver if he would ever do anything else, he was like, nah, he was done. He said no, he's done with Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren's dead, he's done with that character, the story's over. And now we come to find that he himself, Adam Driver, basically came up with this idea, started tossing it around with these different producer-directors. Steven Soderbergh is who he's been working on it with for the last 2 years. And Scott Z. Burns. Scott Z. Burns has officially written the script for it, and Steven Soderbergh was producing. They came up with the initial ideas with Adam Driver. It was a team effort as they were working on it together. Ben was dead. Kylo was dead because they killed him off in post. And Adam Driver had said he was done with it, he's not coming back, that was it. But we now find out that was not the end for him. He had ideas in which ways that Ben could survive and he could come back and he could have a redemption story. And in his own words, it was going to be a more character-driven Empire Strikes Back feel film than the ones we've seen previously. And oh my gosh, this would have been so good. Okay, so who was he? He was working on it, I said, with Steven Soderbergh and Scott Z. Burns. Who are those guys? Soderbergh, he's the director of such films as Magic Mike, the Ocean's 11, 12, 13 movies from the early 2000s with George Clooney and Brad Pitt, Aaron Brockovich, and Logan Lucky, which is a film he directed that Adam Driver starred in. Scott Z. Burns is the writer who officially penned the script for The Hunt for Ben Solo, and he wrote movies such as The Bourne Ultimatum, The Report, which stars Adam Driver. Both Steve Soderbergh and Scott Burns worked together before on the movie Contagion. So you have this group of people that worked together before, and they have been working together secretly for the last couple of years, developing this story, developing the script. They took it to Lucasfilm, Dave Filoni, all of those people, and they loved it. They loved it. They spent $3 million on the script. They said, yes, this is a script we like. They bought the script. Burns is walking away with his paycheck. They bought the script. And then they took it that final last step. They needed that final tick off from from Bob Iger and the Disney execs. And they said, I don't see how Ben Solo could be alive. So no. And are you kidding me? These are the people who wrote into Rise of Skywalker, somehow Palpatine returned.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
And yet, you don't see how somehow Ben Solo survived. You don't see how somehow he could survive too. For 40 years, the Star Wars fandom has been settled on the knowledge that the Emperor died at the end of The Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader defeated him and he died. And then, because they had creative differences with the writing staff and the directing staff for The Rise of Skywalker, they scrapped the original idea they had for The Rise of Skywalker. By the way, I'm still sour about that. Matt Smith was going to be the villain in The Rise of Skywalker originally. I can go into that in another video if you'd like, but he was going to be in it. We now have him. He is on record having said that he was going to be in it, and he was going to be the bad Sith Lord that they were going to have to fight. He was not Palpatine, he was not Snoke, he was some other guy. And they scrapped that. I'm pretty sure they scrapped that only like 6 months before the end. Maybe they scrapped it a bit earlier because obviously they brought Palpatine in with the somehow Palpatine returned. So they just decide after 40 years, and because we're having creative differences and we don't really want to go with this guy, and for some reason we don't want to work with Matt Smith, although I don't know why. So they decide they're just going to toss the rule book up in the air and say, somehow Palpatine survived. And yet, they don't see how somehow Ben Solo could survive. So they said no. I said no. And we really, really need them to make this movie. This movie exists, and we need it to happen. What the people working on it tells me this type of script we would get and the type of vibe we would get based on the previous works done by Soderbergh, Burns, and Adam Driver in that mix. This movie would be funny. It would be character-driven. It would be probably more slow, realistic political drama. It would definitely deal with themes of government corruption, like in Contagion and The Report. You know the movie would have high stakes because, like, Contagion has high stakes. The Ocean's 11 movies have high stakes. There are redemption stories of a sort. We might have had elements of heisting. We would have had elements of government corruption. We would have had redemption. We would have had a little bit of a slower, less flashy pew 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 energy and more just like slower, grittier energy, which would have been really cool. Would have been really cool to see that. And I'm saying would have been, but I'm saying it will be, because they really, really, really should make this movie. It exists. All we need is the green light. We want this movie. Fans want this movie. Shortly after this news dropped like 2 weeks ago, within those 2 weeks, you've had one fan has flown a plain banner that says, "Save the hunt for Ben Solo" over Disney Studios in California. Another has commissioned a billboard in Times Square that for a whole day was saying, "No one's ever really gone, save Ben Solo." I'm just hoping that the clamor of dismay over this not being greenlit, I'm hoping that the clamor will get louder so that way it will get greenlit, just like how Ryan Reynolds leaked the Deadpool footage back in the day, like the testing footage, and the fans were immediately like, well, we want this. When Netflix canceled Daredevil, fans for years were petitioning Save Daredevil, and then it came back in Daredevil Born Again. You also have Timeless is another show, and Manifest, Timeless and Manifest, two regular network TV shows. Same situation. They got canceled multiple times, and fans rallied, and both Manifest and Timeless were able to get renewed, so that way they were able to at least end their story in a complete way. So it wasn't left on a cliffhanger. It didn't leave fans wanting more. And fans want this. Nobody wants a Rey movie without Ben. Because what you have is in the Rise of Skywalker, they said that Rey and Ben were one soul split into two, and then they killed part of that soul. So they said they were a dyad in the Force, one soul split into two, and then they killed one of those too. And that just, nobody wants to see one without the other. So like, I don't just want to see the hunt for Ben Solo if Rey's not going to be in it, but I am sure she would be in it, because you can't have Ben Solo without Rey, and you can't have Rey without Ben Solo. And the only reason I can think of why they would say no to the Ben Solo film is that maybe it must clash. Not maybe, but I'm thinking that it must clash with the script ideas they've been working on for this Rey Skywalker film, and it clashes with that, and so that's why they're just like, well, no, we're not going to do that. If you have people working on a movie where a character's dead, and then these people are like, actually, we're working on a movie too, and that character's not dead, you have to say no to one of those ideas. But what I'm saying is, we want Rey, but we want Rey with Ben. We want them both. We want both of them back. And so if the hunt for Ben Solo gets us both of them back, that is what we want. But Disney is famous for messing up their stuff. They always do this sort of stuff. Another example of a time frame where they just did not really pay attention. Marvel has made so many gaffes over the years when it comes to their extended universe shows and their extended universe storylines, and the gaffes happen because the writers and producers and executives just don't talk to each other and don't watch or read or pay any attention to what is actually happening in each other's stories. So like you had WandaVision came out, all about the redemption arc of Wanda and her grief and how she sort of becomes a villain by enslaving this town, but then she really kind of goes through all the stages of grief and she lets Vision go. And then they do the Multiverse of Madness, where she's basically still deep hard in her grief. Now it's over her children, but she's like not at any kind of peace at all. Despite the fact that at the end of WandaVision, she not only says goodbye to Vision, she says goodbye to her boys as well. And then Multiverse of Madness comes around and she's like insane and doing all this insane, crazy stuff because she's not moved out of her grief. And I remember, I think I saw a report back in the day that even Elizabeth Olsen and the people that had been working on WandaVision, they were reading Multiverse of Madness and they were like, oh, I mean, but did you see what we did here with WandaVision? Because we kind of dealt with that. This kind of undoes that. You didn't see it? Oh, are you gonna? No? Oh, okay, never mind. Then I guess we'll just do this then, because what the Multiverse of Madness really was a start and just a continuation of the avalanche that was the downfall of Marvel. Marvel, everybody knows Marvel has been bad for the last, ever since Endgame, and other people would argue ever since before Endgame that it's been on a downward spiral, but it definitely has been flatlining since we lost Captain America, we lost Chris Evans, we lost RDJ, and Scarlett Johansson, losing all of those big characters. Unfortunately, the plans Marvel had have not been panning out so well for them. The whole point of Deadpool 3 is literally that they're using the TVA. You literally have the TVA from Loki's world goes and gets Deadpool from the other studios and is like, hey, come to our world now to help fix our timeline. It's wild. It's wild. So anyway, really though, the things did not stop snowballing for Marvel until Deadpool 3 came out and they announced that RDJ is coming back as Doom. When RDJ was announced to be coming back, I feel like everybody was like, oh, okay, he's coming back. He's a villain now, but he's coming back. And I'm excited for it, and I think everybody's excited for it. Avengers Doomsday, everybody's excited for that. It's going to be so much fun. Hopefully. Hopefully. But the same thing happened with Doctor Who. After Jodie's term as the Doctor and Chibnall's time in the chair, it really flatlined. Chibnall, when he was writing Jodie's exit, he was like, you know what? I don't think there's any more stories left to tell. I think this might be the end of Doctor Who. And then Russell T Davies and David Tennant were like, whoa, there, whoa, pump the brakes. And David Tennant came back, and it helped breathe some new regeneration energy into Doctor Who. They're back for RDJ. They were back for David Tennant. And now they need to bring Adam Driver back in order to keep the sequels alive. Because there's all these other Star Wars stories going on, but they're either anthology stories or they're still in that, Andor season timeline. They're not progressing past the events of the Rise of Skywalker. Nobody's interested, honestly. What it is, nobody wants to see. I like Rey. I like Ben. I don't want to see Rey and her new Jedi Order. I don't, because I don't like the fact that they made her a Palpatine, and they made her a Palpatine who killed all of the Skywalkers and then took their name. I don't like that. And I don't think any fans like that. Maybe some do, but I think a lot of people don't. And I don't. I don't like that they did that to Rey. I don't like that they did that to Ben. I would like it if Ben came back. And apparently, so would Adam Driver. And so would Lucasfilm. And so would a lot of fans. So hopefully, they will listen to the fans, and they will bring back Ben Solo in the hunt for Ben Solo, and we can see Ben and Rey on our screens again, alive and well, in a new movie. That would be the best. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you had a good time here. Save Ben Solo. Save the hunt for Ben Solo. Bring back Ben Solo. Bye.